Criston Cole, a knight of House Cole. He rises and falls as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, playing a pivotal role in the Targaryen civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons. He first gained renown at the tourney at Maidenpool in 104 AC, where he unseated Prince Daemon Targaryen. This victory earned him the favor of the young Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, and by 105 AC, the 23-year-old Criston was appointed to the Kingsguard. When his romantic feelings for Rhaenyra went unreciprocated, he grew bitter towards her, later acting as though he had never loved her at all. Following the death of King Viserys in 129 AC, Criston argued that Rhaenyra's younger brother, Aegon the Elder, should ascend the Iron Throne, openly opposing her claim. At Aegon's coronation in the Dragon Pit, Criston placed Aegon the Conqueror's crown upon his head, earning the name the Kingmaker. After the murder of the young Prince Jaehaerys, Criston, seeking to justify his failure to protect the king's heir, dispatched Eric Cargill to assassinate the queen in an act of vengeance. The mission proved futile. Eric confronted his twin brother Eric, and both died in the ensuing duel. As the Dance of the Dragons ravages Westeros in House of the Dragon, Criston remains a key figure in the war's military campaigns. How his story ultimately concludes, however, remains to be seen. Jaime Lannister. Sir Jaime joined the Kingsguard at just 15, becoming the youngest knight ever appointed. Though he trained alongside legends such as Arthur Dayne, Gerold Hightower, Barristan Selmy, and Rhaegar Targaryen, his elevation was not an honor, but an insult. King Aerys II appointed Jaime to spite Tywin Lannister, deliberately stripping him of his heir. Jaime grasped this truth when Aerys sent him away during a tourney to guard Queen Rhaella and Prince Viserys, excluding him from the public spectacle and participating in it. Even so, he remained loyal to his vows, surrendering his claim to Casterly Rock as he believed any true knight should. As Aerys descended into madness, Jaime witnessed his atrocities firsthand, including the execution of Rickard and Brandon Stark in 282 AC. When Robert's rebellion erupted and Aerys ordered King's Landing to be burned, Jaime broke his oath and killed the king, saving the city and thousands of lives in the process. Ned Stark later found him seated on the Iron Throne and branded him the Kingslayer, a name that would define his reputation for the rest of his days. During Robert Baratheon's reign, Jaime continued to serve in the Kingsguard and stood witness to Robert's marriage to sister Cersei, with whom he maintained a secret incestuous relationship. While visiting Winterfell in the pilot episode, Jaime pushed Bran Stark from a tower after being discovered with Cersei, leaving the boy crippled. Later, Jaime fought Ned Stark in King's Landing over Tyrion's capture, before fleeing and ultimately being taken prisoner by Robb Stark at the Whispering Wood. Catelyn Stark freed Jaime and sent him south under the guard of Brienne of Tarth in exchange for her daughter's release. But during the journey, the mercenary lock severed Jaime's sword hand. This changed him in many ways. Upon returning to King's Landing, he sought to act with greater honor. In the series, he later left Cersei to fight the Walkers before returning to die alongside her during Daenerys Targaryen's fiery attack. Daemon Targaryen. Known as the Rogue Prince, Daemon is one of the most dangerous and charismatic figures in Targaryen history. Born in 81 AC, he's the younger brother of King Viserys I and a skilled warrior and dragonrider. He is also a political disruptor whose life constantly blurs the line between hero and villain. Daemon rose to prominence as commander of the City Watch of King's Landing in 104 AC, reshaping it into an effective force and earning the fierce loyalty of its men. Restless and ambitious, he repeatedly clashed with his brother's court, particularly over succession. When passed over as heir, Daemon sought power elsewhere, most notably in the Stepstones, where he'd lead a brutal war against the Triarchy, crowning himself king of the Narrow Sea before eventually submitting to Viserys once again. Daemon wields Dark Sister and rides the dragon Caraxes. His marriages were politically explosive, first to Rhea Royce, then to Laena Velaryon, and finally to his niece Rhaenyra Targaryen, whom he fiercely supports as heir to the Iron Throne. During the Dance of the Dragons, Daemon becomes one of Rhaenyra's most effective and ruthless champions, orchestrating assassinations and leading critical campaigns. We're yet to see his fierce skills against another dragon, and surely we will in the upcoming season. What do you think will happen? Leave a comment down below, and remember, no spoilers. Barristan Selmy. Sir Barristan is regarded as the greatest knight to ever live, serving as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard under Robert Baratheon, and as a trusted commander to Daenerys Targaryen. At just 10 years old, Barristan entered a tourney at Blackhaven disguised as a mystery knight. Though mocked for his size, Duncan the Tall took him seriously and jousted him, earning Barristan the name the Bold. At 16, he was knighted by King Aegon V after unhorsing both Prince Duncan Targaryen and Sir Duncan the Tall. Barristan undertook his most daring mission in 277 AC during the Defiance of Duskendale. After Aerys II was taken hostage, Barristan infiltrated Dunfort alone, killing sentries, rescuing the king, and slaying Sir Simon Hollard to avenge Sir Gawain Gaunt. Though wounded by an arrow, he managed to escape. During Robert's Rebellion, Barristan fought at the Battle of the Trident in 283 AC, suffering multiple wounds. Robert spared his life out of respect for his skill, though Barristan later reflected that he would have killed Robert if he'd witnessed Robert's reaction to the murder of Rhaegar's children. Barristan continued serving loyally, leading assaults during Balon Greyjoy's rebellion. After Robert's death in 298 AC, King Joffrey dismisses Barristan from the Kingsguard and orders his arrest. Despite being unarmed, Barristan kills 2 guards without so much as breaking a sweat before escaping the capital. He crosses the narrow sea to Daenerys Targaryen, eventually earning her trust, exposing Jorah Mormont's spying and betrayal, and being named to her Queensguard. In the series, Barristan dies in Meereen. In the books, he remains alive, preparing the Unsullied to face the Yunkish army outside the city. Duncan the Tall. Known simply as Dunk, he stands as one of the great figures of Westeros' more honorable age. Raised in Flea Bottom and towering a little under 7 feet tall, Dunk grows up without noble refinement, learning instead to survive through grit. His life changes when he becomes squire to Sir Arlen of Pennytree, who teaches him the basics of knighthood, jousting, and swordplay. Though good-hearted and quick for his size, Dunk is often dismissed as slow-witted or clumsy. Dunk gains notoriety at the tourney at Ashford in 209 AC. When Prince Aerion Targaryen assaults a young woman named Tansel, Dunk intervenes and strikes the prince, claiming that he is upholding a knight's duty to defend the innocent. Aerion demands a trial of 7. Though Dunk initially stands alone, Aerion's cruelty made many enemies, and 6 knights joined Dunk. The brutal trial ends in Dunk's victory. Following this, Prince Maekar allows his son, Aegon, known as Egg, to squire for Dunk on the condition that Dunk remain a hedge knight to teach the boy humility. Dunk and Egg travel across Westeros, encountering many conflicts. At Standfast, Dunk would serve Sir Eustace Osgrey and uncover a dispute involving Rohan Webber, whose peasants had dammed the Chequy Water. Attempting to negotiate, Dunk instead becomes entangled in rising tensions tied to past Blackfyre loyalties. The conflict escalates to trial by combat, and Dunk fights for Eustace against Lucas Inchfield, Rohan's champion. Though lacking finesse with a sword, Dunk's strength and wrestling skills help him win, killing Lucas but badly injuring himself in the process. Dunk's stratospheric rise continued. Under the reign of his former squire, now King Aegon V, Dunk is named to the Kingsguard, becoming its Lord Commander. He fights in the 4th Blackfyre Rebellion in 236 AC, slaying Daemon III and ending the uprising. In 239 AC, Dunk defeats Lyonel Baratheon in trial by combat after Lyonel rebelled over a broken betrothal. Dunk continued to compete into old age, losing to the young Barristan Selmy in a tourney in 252 AC. He died in 259 AC during the tragedy at Summerhall, when Aegon's attempt to hatch dragons ends in catastrophe. Though details remain unclear, many believe Dunk saved others before perishing in the fire. Alliser Thorne was a hard, embittered knight of House Thorne who survived the fall of the Targaryens, only to be sent to the Wall. A loyalist to King Aerys during Robert's Rebellion, he fought in the defense of King's Landing. After the sack of the city, Thorne was captured and given the choice between execution and taking the Black. He chose the Night's Watch and arrived at Castle Black in 283 AC. By 298 AC, Thorne had served for roughly 15 years as the Watch's master-at-arms. A capable fighter and strict disciplinarian, he trained recruits through fear and cruelty. His sharp tongue and bitter demeanor made him widely despised, especially by Jon Snow and Samwell Tarly. Despite this, Thorne remained deeply loyal to the institution of the Night's Watch, believing harshness is necessary for survival. During the Great Ranging, Thorne was sent to King's Landing to seek aid. Upon returning, he led the defense during the Battle of Castle Black. He fought bravely but was seriously wounded. After Jorah Mormont's death, Thorne became acting Lord Commander and later ran against Jon Snow in the election, losing narrowly. Thorne's resentment culminates in mutiny when Jon allows the wildlings through the wall after escaping Hardhome. Believing Jon to be a traitor, Thorne orchestrates and carries out his assassination in 303 AC. After Jon's resurrection, Thorne is executed by hanging, unrepentant to the end. Garlan Tyrell. Known as Garlan the Gallant, he is the second son of Mace Tyrell and older brother of Loras. Though absent from the TV series, he stands out in the books as a thoughtful, skilled, and genuinely honorable knight. He earned the nickname Gallant in childhood when his brother Willis used it kindly to spare him mockery for being plump, though the name later proved fitting for his character. Unlike the vain and glory-seeking Loras, Garlan is modest and content to serve without attention. Garlan is an exceptional swordsman. He trains by facing multiple opponents at once and is considered by Jaime Lannister to be more skilled than Loras in a true sword fight. During the War of the Five Kings, Garland's defining moment came at the Battle of the Blackwater. Wearing Renly Baratheon's armor, he leads the Tyrell Lannister vanguard into battle, creating the illusion of Renly's return and shattering Stannis' forces. In the fighting, Garland slays Sir Gyard Morgan of Stannis' Kingsguard. Drop us a like if you think they should have added Garland in the show. For his valor, King Joffrey grants Garland Brightwater Keep, elevating him to lordship. Yet Garland remains humble, openly crediting Tyrion Lannister's wildfire strategy for the victory. He also shows kindness to Sansa Stark, speaking gently to her after her marriage to Tyrion. Garland is happily married to Lionette Fossaway, and later takes command in rallying Reach forces against the Ironborn. Loras Tyrell, known throughout Westeros as the Knight of Flowers, is the youngest son of Mace Tyrell and one of the most celebrated knights of his generation. Dashing, charismatic, and supremely talented at jousting, Loras rises to prominence during the later years of King Robert's reign. At just 16, he wins the Tourney of the Hand in 298 AC by unseating Sir Gregor Clegane through clever tactics, using a mare in heat to distract the mountain stallion. When Gregor attempts to kill him in rage, Loras yields humbly to Sandor Clegane, earning admiration for both skill and grace. Loras becomes a court favorite, known for floral cloaks, gallant manners, and public charm. He serves as a member of Renly Baratheon's Rainbow Guard, but is secretly Renly's lover in private, a massively unpopular relationship in Westeros. Renly's sudden death devastates Loras, but House Tyrell soon allies with the Lannisters. During the Battle of the Blackwater, Loras fights bravely. In the books, his brother Garlan wears Renly's armor to terrify Stannis' forces, while the show assigns this role to Loras himself. The victory secures the Lannister-Tyrell alliance. In the show's timeline, Loras' downfall came through the Faith Militant. Arrested for his homosexual relationships, he is imprisoned, humiliated, and broken by the Sparrows. Renouncing his inheritance and confessing his sins, Loras seeks redemption through devotion to the Seven. Before this could occur, Cersei Lannister detonates wildfire beneath the Sept of Baelor, killing Loras and hundreds of others. Brienne of Tarth. Known as Brienne the Maid of Tarth, she is a singular figure in Westerosi history, a woman who embodies true knighthood in a society that denied women the title. The only surviving child of Lord Selwyn Tarth, Brienne was raised on the Isle of Tarth in the Stormlands. Exceptionally tall and strong, she rejects traditional expectations of femininity and trains relentlessly with sword and shield, enduring mockery for her appearance and earning the cruel nickname Brienne the Beauty. But Brienne possesses unwavering honor, compassion, and courage. Her path toward knighthood begins during the War of the Five Kings, when she joins Renly Baratheon's host. At Bitterbridge, Brienne shocked the gathered lords by defeating Sir Loras Tyrell in single combat, earning a place in Renly's Rainbow Guard. Though never formally knighted, she serves as one of Renly's personal protectors and loves him deeply. After Renly's assassination, Brienne is falsely accused, forcing her to flee with Catelyn Stark. Catelyn entrusts Brienne with the responsibility of escorting Jaime Lannister to King's Landing in exchange for her daughter's release. This vow to Catelyn defines Brienne's journey. Traveling with Jaime exposed Brienne to constant danger, outlaws, captivity, and brutal violence. But she never abandons her oaths. Though Jaime initially mocked her, her steadfast honor earns his respect and helps reshape his own sense of duty. After Jaime lost his sword hand, their bond deepened. In King's Landing, Jaime gifts Brienne the Valyrian steel sword Oathkeeper and charges her with protecting Sansa Stark. Before the Battle of Winterfell in 305 AC, Jaime finally knights her, speaking the sacred words long denied to her. Rising as Sir Brienne of Tarth, she becomes the first recorded woman knighted in Westeros. She fights bravely against the undead and survives the Great War. After Daenerys' fall, King Bran names her Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Brienne's final act, recording Jaime Lannister's deeds in the White Book, reflects her enduring fairness and mercy. Arthur Dayne. This knight of House Dayne is renowned as the greatest swordsman in the history of Westeros. A knight of the Kingsguard under Aerys Targaryen II, he has the legendary title Sword of the Morning, granted only to the most worthy knight of House Dayne. With this title comes Dawn, the ancestral greatsword forged from the heart of a fallen star. Pale as milk glass and unmatched in quality, Dawn made Arthur nearly unbeatable in battle, with many believing no knight can stand against him while he wields it. Eddard Stark later called him the finest knight I ever saw, admitting he would have died fighting Arthur if not for Howland Reed's intervention. Jaime Lannister, who trained alongside him, views Arthur as the very ideal of knighthood and speaks of his unmatched skill. During the campaign against the Kingswood Brotherhood, he combined chivalry with strategy, winning the trust of the small folk and cutting off the outlaws' support. He took on the Smiling Knight in single combat in 281 AC, slaying him and ending the Brotherhood's threat. It was during this campaign that Arthur would knight Jaime on the battlefield. Arthur is also a formidable tournament knight, winning the melee at Prince Viserys' birth celebration and later beating Rhaegar in celebrated jousts at Harrenhal. Arthur Dayne met his end in 283 AC at the Tower of Joy in the wake of Robert's rebellion. After the fall of King's Landing, he remained loyal to Prince Rhaegar's final command, guarding Lyanna Stark alongside Sir Gerold Hightower and Sir Oswell Whent. When Ned Stark arrived with companions to reclaim his sister, the Kingsguard refused to yield. Arthur cut down several foes with Dawn, but was eventually killed by Ned. Arthur is buried beneath a cairn built from the tower's stones, and Ned returns Dawn to House Dayne at Starfall. Gerold Hightower is known as the White Bull. A member of House Hightower of Oldtown, he joins the Kingsguard at a young age and rises to Lord Commander by 259 AC after the death of Sir Duncan the Tall. Gerold's skills were said to surpass even Jaime Lannister's if they were both at their peak. He would faithfully serve as Lord Commander under both Jaehaerys and Aerys II for more than 2 decades. Gerold proves his leadership during the War of the Ninepenny Kings, assuming command of royal forces after the hand of the king was slain and leading them to victory. After the battle, he inducts the celebrated Sir Barristan Selmy into the Kingsguard and formally cloaks Jaime Lannister at the tourney of Harrenhal. Though aging and having suffered serious injuries, including an arrow through the hand during a campaign against outlaws, he remained active. His loyalty bound him to Aerys, even as the king descended into cruelty. Gerold witnessed the brutal execution of Rickard and Brandon Stark, and he reminds Jaime that the Kingsguard's duty is obedience, not judgment. During Robert's rebellion, Prince Rhaegar entrusted Gerold, Sir Arthur Dayne, and Sir Oswell Whent with guarding Lyanna Stark at the Tower of Joy. There, Gerold refuses to yield to Eddard Stark, declaring that the Kingsguard does not flee. He dies defending his charge. Lyonel Baratheon, the Lord of Storm's End from 174 AC to around 245 AC, is none other than Sir Lyonel Baratheon. The Stag Lord earned his nickname the Laughing Storm, after the habit of laughing loudly at his opponents during battle, as well as in general. Lyonel stands tall at 6 feet 11 inches, just shy of Dunk. During the Ashford Meadow tourney, a trial of 7 occurs. This is the first of its kind in over 100 years, and Lyonel jumps at the chance to participate. Lyonel aids Dunk during the trial, helping him to win. Years later, an altercation occurs between the Laughing Storm and the king Aegon. When Aegon's son breaks his betrothal to Lyonel's daughter, Lyonel rebels. Lyonel meets with Duncan in a trial by combat and eventually yields to Dunk, and Aegon agrees to betroth his youngest daughter to Lyonel's heir, Ormond. Baelor Targaryen. Prince Baelor Breakspear Targaryen was born to King Daemon II in 170 AC. In 187 AC, at just 17, he'd earned the name Breakspear after defeating his uncle Daemon Blackfyre in the final tilt at Princess Daenerys' wedding tourney. Baelor is noted as the first legitimate Targaryen without the traditional silver hair and purple eyes, instead inheriting the dark features of his Dornish mother. During the First Blackfyre Rebellion, Baelor leads Dornish and Stormlands forces against the rebel rearguard at the Battle of the Redgrass Field, helping secure victory for the crown. His valor, intelligence, and honor earned him widespread admiration, and he was later named Hand of the King, where his chivalry and wisdom further strengthened his reputation. In 209 AC, at the tourney at Ashford Meadow, Baelor defends a young hedge knight, Duncan the Tall, recalling Duncan's former master, Sir Arlan of Pennytree. Baelor's intervention led to a trial of 7 against Prince Aerion Targaryen. Before the combat, Baelor advises Dunk's champions to use tourney lances to gain an advantage. Tragically, during the melee, Baelor is struck in the head by a mace wielded by his brother, Prince Maekar. The blow proves fatal, and Baelor dies in Duncan's arms. Baelor's death was widely mourned, marking the loss of a prince many believed would have been a great king. That's a wrap for our guide to the most famous knights in Westeros. If you have made it this far, you should definitely check out our guide to all the known Valyrian steel swords in Westeros, and make sure to hit subscribe for more upcoming Game of Thrones content.